So there I am. I am lying beneath the stars, and I am seeing them. I mean, really seeing them for the first time. I'm out in the wilds of the Poconos Mountains in Pennsylvania. It's a clear summer night, and the stars, I mean, they look so bright, mostly because there's nothing at all to distract. I am out in the middle of nowhere. There's no street lights, neon lights, nothing. And you can really feel the brightness. I had no idea how many stars they were. Those astronomers were not kidding. And I feel like they're all relatives, but the good kinds, like the caring but respectful, kind of like, I'm going to give you a little distance for your privacy, but I'm here if you need me. And when I fell asleep with nothing to get in the way, not even a tent, which looking back might have been smart, there was just a thin wool blanket beneath me, one on top, me and the stars. In spite of being completely alone, I did not feel it. I was feeling one with the universe, blissed out. And that was not how I started. Actually, I did not start out there alone, and I would have never gotten out there if it were not for Rob. Now, Rob and I were both camp counselors at this summer camp out in the Poconos. And the very first time I saw Rob, it was my first night off. And these people, I mean, they were like running a slave camp. I was with these kids 24/7. And so it was my first night off, and I didn't know anybody, and there wasn't anything to do. So I went to the cantina, the camp cantina, and I saw perhaps the most gorgeous man ever. He had chiseled cheekbones and kind of chiseled everything, come to think about it. And he had that sort of longish, dark hair, but it worked for him somehow. And he was at the back of a ping pong table, and he was yelling, "It's a bloody simple sport. How come no one can return the ball? And how come no one can play this game for shit?" And I ran over, so excited, saying, "Oh, I can play this game for shit. I mean, I'm not shit. I can play this game. My dad taught me how." And I proceeded to then play him and beat him miraculously. And then I discovered that if I got him talking, I could beat him even more handily. So that is what I did. And as he talked, he told me about the fact that when he was born, his parents, on the way home from the hospital in some country in South Africa, I wasn't paying that close attention to the story, but his parents had been in an awful car wreck, and they both died in this wreck. And so he, as like a one-day-old baby, was supposed to die as well, but apparently miraculously survived. And so he explained, the way I see it, I'm just on borrowed time, and anything I can get out of life is a good experience. So I do as much as I can. I skydive. I even do things like bowling. But he was incredibly accomplished, and I love the idea someone was living on borrowed time. And, the next week when we hung out and played ping pong, massive tournaments together, he revealed to me that he had gotten this job and he had a girlfriend and he got her job here as well so that, a relationship could evolve and fully blossom. And then the very first week there, instead, she went off with this like really cool kind of Australian water sports counselor. And so he was heartbroken. And I remember saying, "That's too bad." And then the very next week, he asked me to go camping with him. And I said, before I could stop myself, I was like, I don't camp. I'm not a camper. I'm very nervous with the idea. No. He was like, "It'd be nice if it was just me and you." I could try camping. And he's like, "And don't worry, I don't mess around with any of those tents or things like that. I just camp in the wild." So we went out. We were in the wild. But note, I had the entire night off and the next day off. He had had his one day off, and he had to get back by midnight. So what that meant is he was going to be leaving me at midnight. Well, 11:30. But I still figured it might be worth it. And sure enough, he said beautiful things like, "Oh, I love your long, silky hair." I can't even remember what my girlfriend's name was now. And it was great. And I remember thinking, what did I ever had against camping? This is incredible. This is awesome. What's my problem? And even after he left, instead of feeling alone, I was consoled by the stars. And so I went to sleep in the most blissful state of mind. And then I woke up in the morning light, and I felt this soft kind of caress on my head. But then I remembered I was alone and the stars couldn't actually reach me, so I reached up to feel what it was. And it wasn't as soft as I had expected. It was a little slimy. And so then I started to get a little worried, and I actually picked it up and pulled it out of the very top part of my hair, and I was looking at a slug. Then it occurred to me, after I quickly threw it out, that actually I felt a little bit other slugs in my hair. And I started to pull them one by one out of my hair. And I was up on my feet and screaming like some horror movie, and I'm jumping around. And I have hair down to my waist, people. And it is long and fine. And I pull over 20 slugs out of my hair. And I have to say, it's a testament to myself that I not freak out so much that I didn't just like find a way to whack my hair off. I mean, I didn't have a knife on me or anything, but I mean, it took the kind of stoic being still to pull them out one by one from the tangles. And I tried to tell myself, they're probably more afraid than you, or maybe they were just trying to keep you safe by cuddling up. It didn't matter. It was the most horrific thing. And when I returned to camp, I found out the next day that Rob had gotten back together with his girlfriend. So don't ever go camping. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.